All right, Shalom. First and foremost, I want to start off by giving all praises and glory and honor to Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahweh Shai, Ba'ashem, Marakal Padash, and double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone who well. Peace and blessings and salutation to the hopeful elect, the Bayath, the Dawadah, the house of David. All right, so we're going to jump right into this video. All right, this is going to be called Babylon is Fallen. It's fallen. All right, so we're proving that pretty much America is Babylon. It's Babylon the Great. All right, and it's written in the Bible. So I pull this up on here on the AI mode, right? So it says Babylon the Great is a symbolic figure and place described in the book of Revelation in the New Testament. It represents the spirit of deception and hostile towards Yahweh Shai and his people that has existed throughout history and will reach its climax in the end times. So it says, here's a breakdown of the key characteristics. It says, a symbol of false religion and deception. Babylon the Great, also is known as the Whore of Babylon, is associated with false religions that lead people away from the worship of the true power Yahweh, Yahweh Shai. All right. It says it is portrayed as a great prostitute and a mother of harlots, suggesting as a source of widespread spiritual confusion and unfaithfulness. These false religions often perpetuate doctrines and practices that can be traced back to ancient Babylon, right? Such as belief in the Trinity or the use of images in worship. This is right here. This right here is telling you that America is Babylon. All right? America, the United States of America, is Babylon the Great. Okay? The good old USFA is Babylon the Great, spoken about in the Bible. All right? It says a world influence. It says the Bible describes Babylon the Great as having an international scope and influence, reigning over the kings of the earth and sitting on the many waters. Right. That's correct. It says that represents peoples, multitudes, nations, and tongues. Absolutely. Okay. Even how does AI know this? The AI mode knows this, man. Okay. And we've been breaking this down for years. Brothers been on the street corners breaking this down for years. The elders and the apostles been breaking this down for years and letting you know that Babylon the Great is America. Okay? Let's read on. It says, the opposition to Yahweh and his people, right? Which are the Israelites. Which you so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans, you are the Israelites. Okay, Babylon the Great is characterized, all right, by its defiance of Yahweh's authority and its persecution of his followers. It seeks to promote false worship and lead people to accept the authority of the Antichrist, which means anti against the Hamashiach, meaning you're not for Yahweh Shai. All right, represented by the beast it sits upon, represented by the beast it sits upon, right? Okay? The beast is the system. All right? The dragon is Satan itself, exchangeable. Okay? It says materialism and idolatry, and that's what America is big on, materialism and idolatry. America's real big on idolatry, idol worshiping. All right? This symbolic entity also represents the allure of material wealth and worldly pleasures that can distract and enslave individuals, leading them to prioritize these things over Yahweh. All right, which is really talking about the Israelites, because the rest of the nations, the Most High is not dealing with the rest of the nations. All right. First of all, the Most High is dealing with the prophets, the elect of the elect. All right, so Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai is looking for the elect. All right, so I just to explain that to you. Okay, It says ultimate destruction. It says, according to Revelation, Babylon the Great will ultimately be judged and destroyed by Yahweh, by Hashem Yahushai, right? Because they're going to send Yahushai back. Yahushai is ultimately going to come back, all right? And Babylon is going to fall. He's going to flip this plane upside, right side up, okay? This thing is going to be back in a righteous order, man. In a righteous manner, because it's not, America is not a righteous manner, man. This place is going to be destroyed, man. Okay? Babylon the Great, aka America, will be destroyed by Yahushai. All right? By Yahushai. All right? Thus saith the scriptures. Thus saith Yahweh. Thus saith. All right? Thus saith Yahweh B'Shem Yahushai. Okay? It says, its downfall symbolizes defeat of all powers and oppose Yahweh B'Shem Yahushai, and the triumph of Yahushai, all right, the Hamashiach. They oppose Yahweh in the triumph of Yahushai, the Hamashiach. Okay, so it says, in summary, Babylon the Great is not a literal woman. Absolutely, it's not a literal woman. Okay? It's this kingdom right here. All right? It says, but a symbolic representation of a world system of false religion. Right. It says, in opposition to Yahweh B'Shem Yahushai, materialism and deception that has spanned human history and will meet its end in the final judgment. Right. Okay, so let's go to some scriptures here. Right. First of all, let's go here real quick. Okay, because the AI mode, we're going to go back into the AI mode. So Babylon the Great is America. We're going to put that in first. All right, so let's go to the AI mode. Let's see what it says. So this is what it says. Some religious interpretations of Babylon the Great mentioned in the book of Revelation associate it with the United States of America. You see, it says, here's a summary of these interpretations. Some believe that the United States fits the description of Babylon the Great in Revelation 17:18. It says, these chapters describe Babylon the Great as a great city with vast wealth, international influence, and a history of persecuting Yahweh's people, Yahweh B'Shem Yahushai's people. This is absolutely on the money. Absolutely on the money. All right? Because this is facts. Okay? This is what the scripture is saying, man. How does AI mode know this, man? I gotta say this again. How do they know this, man? I mean, breaking this down for years. All right? It says specific characteristics of the U.S. are highlighted as potential parallels. Economic influence, right? America's role in global commerce and finance could be seen as an aligning with the descriptions of Babylon the Great, wealth and trade relationships. Cultural influences, concerns about perceived moral decay and the influence of materialism in American society are sometimes connected to the spiritual prostitution and shameless luxury attributed to Babylon the Great. Political and military power. The U.S. status as a global superpower and its military might are seen as potential aligning with the description of Babylon the Great as a great city reigning over the kings of the earth. The historical city of Babylon serves as a backdrop for those interpretations. Ancient Babylon was known for its defiance of Yahweh, the promotion of false religion, and the persecution of Yahweh's people. Absolutely. Yahweh B'Shem Yahushai's people, right. Absolutely. Okay? So this here it brings in even here more. Right? It has a whole lot more here. I just read some of that. But let's go in here and let's get the scriptures. Let's get the scriptures. And let's start at Revelation, the 13th chapter, and let's start at the first verse. All right? It says, the beast from the sea, And I stood upon the sand of the sea, and I saw the beast rise up out of the sea. Right? This is not talking about a literal beast. Right? This is talking about a kingdom. Okay? Which that kingdom, would be Babylon the Great, which would be aka America. Alright? During the Renaissance period. Renaissance means rebirth. Alright? It says, and I stood upon the sand of the sea, and I saw a beast rise up out of the sea, having 7 heads and 7 horns, and upon his horns 10 crowns, and upon his heads the name of blasphemy. And the beast which I saw was like unto a leopard, and his feet were as the feet of a bear, and his mouth as the mouth of a lion. And the dragon gave him his power and his seat and great authority. Verse 3. And I saw one of his heads as if it were wounded to death, and his deadly wound was healed, and all the world wondered after the beast. Right, which is what? The ancient Roman Empire, right, which was wounded, okay, but they wasn't fully taken down. They came back, all right. The reincarnation, the revitalized Roman Empire, which is America, which has all the other, which took on all the other philosophies of all the other empires or kingdoms that were before it. All right. Okay. It says, and they worshiped the dragon, which gave power unto the beast, right? Which gave power unto the beast. The beast is the system. The dragon is Satan himself. The dragon is Satan. Spiritual, you got the spiritual counterpart Satan, and you got the physical Satan, which is Esau. All right, Esau, Edom. Spiritual counterpart of Satan, which is all right. You got Esau, Edom. Okay. It says, and they worship the beast, saying, who is like unto the beast, who is able to make war with him, who's able to make war with him, because America is a superpower. All right, America is a superpower. Okay, when they seen them drop Fat Boy and Little Boy, those major bombs on Hiroshima and Nagasaki, people was like, man, we don't want no beef with them, man. All right, and then let alone you got the Germans. All right, teaming, which is very wise in creating what you call weaponry, man, and many different things of that nature, man. Okay, so let's continue on. All right, verse 5. It says, and there was given unto him a mouth speaking great things and blasphemies. Right, how were they doing that? All right, through what you call religious deception. Okay, speaking blasphemies against Yahweh and Yahweh. All right, what you call changing the images. Also, what you call taking and destroying what you call Yahweh's people, taking away their names. Okay, this was all done. All right. Speaking great blasphemies, right? And power was given unto him to continue 42 months. All right. It says, and he had opened his mouth in blasphemy against Yahweh, Bashem Yahushai, to blaspheme his name and his tabernacle, right? And them that dwell in heaven, right? And them that dwell in heaven. Okay. And it was given unto him to make war with the saints. The saints are who? The Israelites. That's the saints. Okay? And to overcome them, and to power, and power was given him over all kindreds and tongues and nations. Right? That's why America is called a melting pot. All right? America, Babylon the Great, is called a melting pot. All the nations are right here in America. Okay, all the nations. All right. It says, and all that dwell upon the earth shall worship him, whose names are not written in the book of the. That's pretty much it. Oh, yeah, that's pretty much it. That's all I needed. Let's jump down here. Yep, let's jump down here. Verse number 11. It says, and I behold another beast coming up out of the earth, and it had two horns like a lamb, and he spake as a dragon. Right. And he exercised all the power of the first beast before him. Right. The first beast before him was what? The Roman Empire, man. The ancient pagan Roman Empire. All right. Okay. Which the Roman Empire, all right, had all the nations mixed up in it. Even even the Israelites, we were there. And all the other nations was in there because at the time Rome was a superpower. They were strong. They took down damn near everybody who was around. Nobody wanted beef with them back then. Just like America is today, which is Rome all over again. Nobody wanted beef with them, beef with right now with them. All right, so everything is reincarnated, man. Okay. It says, verse 13. Actually, Salakia. Verse 12. It says, and he exercises all the power of the first beast before him, and he causeth the earth and them which dwell therein to worship the first beast, whose deadly wound was healed. And he doeth great wonders, so that he maketh fire come down from heaven on the earth in the sight of men. Right. When I explain that. And he deceiveth them that dwell on the earth by the means of these miracles, which he had power to do in the sight of the beast, saying to them that dwell on the earth that they should make an image of the beast, image to the beast, which had the wound by a sword and did live. All right. You see? So that's pretty much it on that. So let's go ahead and let's get Revelation, the 17th chapter. Revelation 17th chapter. Let's just start at verse 1. Let's start at verse 1. Okay? And this is the doom of Babylon. This is how we know that Babylon is America. Okay? Henceforth, by the title of this video is going to be called Babylon is Fallen. All right? That great city is fallen. All right? It says, Revelation 17:1, it says, and there came one of the seven angels which had the seven vials and talked with me, saying unto me, come hither, I will show unto thee the judgment of the great whore. Right, the great whore. We're talking about America. That sitteth upon many waters. Right, America. Babylon. Okay? With whom the kings of the earth have committed fornication. With whom the kings of the earth have committed fornication. Right, all these other nations. All right, is all in cahoots. They all have what you call they're all what you call an alliance. All right, together. Okay. It says, with whom the kings of the earth have committed fornication, and the inhabitants of the earth have been made drunk with the wine of her fornication. Right, with the wine of her fornication. Right, meaning. The wine is talking about the philosophies. All right. Okay. The wicked false teachings of the Bible. The churches set up all these things like that. All right. False religion. All right. It says, verse 3. It says, so he carried me away into the spirit, into the wilderness, and I saw a woman. Right. And this is not talking about a literal woman. Okay, people read this and they think it's talking about a literal woman. No, it's not. It says set upon a scarlet colored beast, right? Because a scarlet color, which would be a red or like a reddish looking color or purple looking color, right? It symbolizes rulership or kingly rulership. All right, those colors, they symbolize kingly rulership. All right, and I saw a woman set upon a scarlet colored beast full of names of blasphemy, right? Full of names of blasphemy, having 7 heads and 10 horns. All right. It says, and the woman was arrayed in purple and scarlet color, and decked with gold and precious stones and pearls, having a gold cup in her hand, full of abominations and the filthiness of her fornication. And upon her forehead was a name written, Mystery Babylon the Great, right, which is America, the mother of harlots, right, because the mother of harlots, right, America is always in bed in cahoots with everybody, right, the mother of harlots and the abominations of the earth, all the wickedness and idolatry and lies and everything, the abominations of the earth, filthiness, man, everything you can think of, man, okay? All right, so that's what I wanted to. All right, so right here, verse 6 is the last verse that I need. All right, it says, and I saw the woman drunken with the blood of the saints. The blood of the saints is the Israelites, and with the blood of the martyrs of Yahushua, right, which was the elected. Okay, the elect. All right. And when I saw her, I wondered with great admiration. Okay, so that was that. So let's go here to Revelation 18, 2 and 8. Revelation 18, 2 through 8. So Revelation 2 through 8. It says, and he cried mightily with a strong voice, saying, Babylon the Great is fallen, and become the habitation of devils, and the hold of every foul spirit, and a cage of every unclean and hateful bird. For all nations have drunk of the wine of the wrath of her fornication, meaning destruction. And the kings of the earth have committed fornication with her, and the merchants of the earth were right, because America is what you call, America doesn't export, they import everything. All right? They import everything from all these other countries, like China being the major one. All right? And in all these other nations, they all bring in there and make money off of these nations, because all the nations, like I said, are here in America. Okay, why you think you got all these different material things? You got cars, you got gold, you got all types of things here. Because why? This is what you call the place for merchants, and the earth for merchants, right? For people that sell things. America is a place where people sell things. Okay? On the ports, all right? In the ports, that's where all the goods and everything come in. The ports. All right? Let's continue to read on. It says, for all the nations have drunk of the wine of the wrath of her fornication, and the kings of the earth have committed fornication with her. And the merchants of the earth have waxed rich through the abundance of the delicacy. See? The merchants of the earth had waxed rich. Why? Because America. Okay? Verse number 4. It says, and I heard another voice from heaven saying, come out of her, my people. Right, this is talking about the Israelites. Come out of her, my people. It's only going to be the elect that come out of it. The elect is going to come out. Right, 2/3 of our people are going to be destroyed. But they ultimately going to come back in the kingdom. But on this side, they're going to get the wrath of the Most High. They're going to get the wrath of Yahweh Shem Yahushai. It says, come out of her, my people, that ye be not partakers of her sins. Right, you be not partakers of her sins. Right, miracle. It says, and that ye receive not her plagues. Right, you receive not her plagues. Because the plagues of America is going to be destruction. It's all coming. Everything is coming down the line. There's going to be a numerous amount of plagues that come to America. Just like Egypt, ancient Egypt, that's how America's going to get it. All right, and it's getting it. It's getting it. The Most High is about to. He's going to ramp this thing up. Yahweh Bashim Yahshua going to ramp this thing up. You best believe that. Okay. You best to believe that everything is going to be super ramped up. All right, as it is already. Okay. It says, verse 5. It says, "For her sins have reached unto heaven, and the Most High have received her iniquities." Right, because America, man, there's a lot of sins upon America, man. There's a lot of sin. There's a lot of bloodshed upon America, upon Babylon, man. There's a lot of bloodshed, a lot of sin, a lot of things, a lot of sins upon this place, man. And that's why the Most High is going to take it out, man. It got to its full potential. Eventually, America, as soon as that microchip, all right, as soon as that last prophecy of that microchip is implemented, all right, the end will come. All right, everything will start to move fast. Once that chip happens, everything is going to move fast. And the chip is going to be implemented, most definitely. Okay, they're gonna implement that chip, that RFID chip, that RFID microchip, which is the mark of the beast. They will implement that chip. Okay, they're working on it. It's already here anyway, but they're working on it. What I'm meaning by that is they're gonna make everybody. They're gonna see and they're gonna try everybody. Like the scripture said, you're gonna take this chip to be in order to be in this society. You can't buy or sell without that microchip. Okay, without the mark of the beast. All right. Verse number 6. Verse number 6 says, "Reward her even as she has rewarded you, and double unto her double according to her works." Right, because the works of America has been nothing but wickedness. The works of America has been nothing but wickedness, but we're going to do everything in spiritual and righteousness. We're going to judge in righteousness. So that's how we're going to reward this place. We're rewarding it right now. We're rewarding this place with the spiritual, the spiritualness of the Bible. Okay, with telling the coming of Yahushua, we're letting them know like America going to be destroyed. That's how we're rewarding it, and then the physical reward is going to come. All right, the reward now is of the mouthpiece. All right, but then the physical reward is going to come. Okay. It says in the cup. It says in the cup which she had filled to her double. Right, and we can fill to her double. Okay, it's going to be a double whammy. All right. Verse 7. It says, "How much she have glorified herself and have lived deliciously." Right, because America's living real deliciously, man. Living real good, man. Okay. "She have tormented, so much torment and sorrow give her, for she sitteth in her heart. For she saith, Salakia, for she saith in her heart, I sat a queen, and I am no widow, and I shall see no sorrow." Right. So they're saying that they'll never be taken down. That's why they said that the proud, the great, the proud, the great America will never be taken down. Babylon will never be taken down. Ain't nobody beat us. That's the pride of Rome as well. Okay, so that's how we know that Babylon, the great, is America. All right. So let me go here to. Matter of fact, let's read the rest. Let's read verse number 8. It says, "Therefore shall her plagues come in one day, death and mourning and famine, and she shall be utterly burned with fire. For strong is the Lord power, Yahweh. For strong is Yahweh Bashim Yahushai, who judgeth her." Right, because it's going to be judged. All right, their ICBM missiles, thermonuclear missiles, and then that hot concentrated fire coming out in chariots. All right, that's going to burn this place. Okay, so let me go here to Isaiah real quick. Isaiah 47. All right, Isaiah 47. Isaiah 47:1. It says, "Come." It says, "Come down and sit in the dust, O virgin daughter of Babylon." O virgin daughter of Babylon is talking about America. All right, sit on the ground. Right, sit on the ground. Your days are numbered. It's over for you. There's no throne. You're not going to rule no more. All right, there is no throne, O daughter of the Chaldeans. But thou shalt no more be called tender and delicate. Right, but thou shalt no more be called tender and delicate. Take the millstones and grind mill. Uncover the locks. Make bare the leg. Right, because we uncovering that America's Babylon the Great. The prophecies are speaking as they are. All right, we're showing you the shame of this place. Okay, and that it ain't all cracked up to what they say it is, man. All right, this is hell. Okay, you living in hell. All right, and what I mean by hell is a condition. Okay, especially the Israelites. All right. It says, make bare the leg, uncover the thigh, and pass over the rivers. It says, thy nakedness shall be uncovered, and thy shame shall be seen. Right, and that's what I was just explaining to you. I will take vengeance, and I will not meet thee as a man. Right, and that's Yahushua. Right, because Yahushua is going to come back. He's going to take vengeance, and he's not going to meet thee as a man. It's going to be an angelic power that's going to be unstoppable. A force that's going to be unstoppable, and that Esau ain't going to be able to do nothing with. All right, no matter how many stealth plane modes you're making down there, Area 51, Area 52, it doesn't matter about none of those things. You ain't going to be able to beat the chariots of Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahushai. I'm sorry, you're not. Okay, you're not. You don't have the power or the authority. All right, to beat Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahushai. You ain't going to be able to do it, Esau. Sorry to tell you. All right. Okay. All right, so with that right there, I'm going to give all praises and glory and honor to Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahushai, Ba'ashem, Harakah Kodash, and double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone and Ruel. Peace and blessings and salutation to the hopeful elect, the Bayath, Dawadah, the House of David, Shalom, and Abba Babal, Babylon the Great.